Hello and welcome to the Explosion Network's Doctor Who Aftershow, Fish, Fingers and Custard. My name is Dylan Blight, and joining me, as always, Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, what's up?
Nothing much. Ready to talk about last week's. We can't play it off. This episode's late. It's coming up. It's fine. We're going to be talking about episode 9. I did take last week off. It's not really important to this show, but just covering bases. Had last week off.
Yeah.
This is late. It's fine. We're catching up. So this week's episode, we'll probably try and move it along a bit of a faster pace to get through it, even though I'm just going to chuck it out there straight away. I do like this episode. So it's not really like a shit one that I'd just be like, yeah, fuck it. Just whatever. It was trash. Move on.
Yeah.
Next one. So that probably, it would have been easier if the episode was trash, I feel.
This was episode 2, and
if this was episode 2, it would have been, I could have made it a 20-minute thing. If I was like, nah, fuck it. No need to do a show. Whatever. Here. Trash. Moving on.
Side note, apparently episode 2 is like one of the more critically liked episodes, at least according to Rotten Tomatoes.
Proves what people know, eh?
Yeah.
They know nothing. Jon Snow.
Yeah.
That's
true.
All right, so this week's episode is called It Takes You Away. It was directed by Jamie Childs, written by Ed Heim, who I was like, I don't know this person. This person hasn't written an episode before. Look him up. Written like 2 episodes of Skins, one other thing. That's it before this. So, interesting. Synopsis. On the edge of a Norwegian forge. Forge? In the present day, the Doctor, Ryan... What? Ford?
Ford.
Yeah. What is it though? A Ford? Like a Ford? What was it?
Like a... I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, I'm not even sure.
I think it's like a chasm or something.
Okay, that might make sense. In the present day, the Doctor, Ryan, Graham and Yaz discover a boarded up cottage and a girl named Hanne in need of their help. What has happened here? What monster lurks in the woods around the cottage and beyond? Dun, dun, dun. What were your overall thoughts for episode 9, Ash?
I mean, what the fuck? Like, seriously?
What is the what the fuck part? Is it just the frog?
Yeah.
yeah. It's like, yeah. It's just,
yeah. I mean, there's so many emotions, so many feelings. Some things were good, some things were not so good. Yeah. It was a good episode overall, but geez.
I feel like as soon as I finished watching it, I could tell that I'm like, this is one that either you're 100% on board with and you don't, and you're just like, this is really great, or like some elements, including the frog, I feel a lot of people would just be like, that's too silly, and they're not going to like the episode for that, like the silliness aspect of it. However, I think it's one of the best episodes of the season. I thought it was really, really, I thought it was a really good, like people are complaining and they're looking for fucking sci-fi. They're like, Doctor Who, too much political bullshit, blah, 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 blah. Here it is. This is a really interesting, batshit crazy sci-fi story. Does it make a lot of sense? I don't know. Does it need to? Not really. I don't think, like there's enough explanations and gibberish kind of thrown at you to be like, yeah, I guess that's how it works. When the Doctor gets to explaining what it is, it's like, I'm trying to keep up. I'm like, it's a system. It has a mind, conscious. It's like, but you kind of understand enough just to be like, okay, whatever. It's a frog now. It's fine. But yeah, and then also this episode, of course, did have some major feels moments. Be that the Grace stuff, or even bigger than Grace. I honestly, for me personally, I felt like it was Ryan's calling Graham granddad finally at the end.
Yeah,
I was like, oh. We've got there, everyone. What a moment. We're getting there. It's finally happened. All right. So we're going to run through the episode as per usual. And the episode kicks off with the Doctor. Once again, we don't really know how they got there, but they've landed somewhere trying to figure out where they are. The Doctor's taste tester, apparently. Taste everything. Dirt tells you everything. So they figure out that they're in Norway. Yeah. Don't know what year. Oh, the dirt says 2018. We're in 2018. That's cool. We're in our own year.
Dirt explains a lot.
Yeah. Dirt everything. I mean, I suppose it's true. You could tell the ear from dirt if you
Knew what to look for.
the tongue for it, yeah. So they're looking around and they spot this hut down in the fjord. In the chasm. Words. And it looks like it's either half built or it's falling apart or something along these lines. They're not really sure. So they head on down to look into it, find out what's going on. And yeah, as they walk down, you see it kind of does look like it's being built rather than torn apart because they're like,
no, it's like boarded up and everything. It's like there's a freaking zombies around it and they've just boarded up the house.
Yeah, I mean,
Make sure nothing can get in.
Yeah, and when you look back on it after you know why it's boarded up, it's like, fuck, that dude's crazy. You would do that to keep your daughter safe, kind of, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point? Just lock the windows and then
buy her a fucking PlayStation. 2018, dude. He's like, oh, I've got to keep her inside.
Well,
safe.
to be fair,
What?
I don't think she could play PlayStation.
Oh, that's true. Good point. I fucked up, didn't I?
Yeah.
Buy her some books.
Ooh.
What? They got Braille? They count. Books count. Books count. But she can read.
Get her Audible subscription.
There you go. Get her a subscription to Explosion Network's podcast. So they head in, they're looking around the house, and then Ryan spots someone moving around inside, trying to figure out what's going on. So of course, someone inside a weird hut decided, yeah, we should go explore that. So Dr. Sonic's then went inside, figure out what's going on. Inside, they explore a little bit. They find like plates of food, stuff. The house kind of still looks a bit abandoned. And then upstairs, Ryan finds inside of a wardrobe the girl that's all looking around, who's wrapped up in a hood and glasses and kind of looks... At first, I thought she was going to take off the glasses and hood and kind of be like a disfigured mess, or, you know, something, an alien, or, you know, something scary, but no, that's just whatever. Graham, at this point, of course, draws out a pickle sandwich from his pocket to give to her because he explains that he always carries around a pickle sandwich every time he leaves the TARDIS because he has low blood sugar and he's just prepared. So, you know, good old Graham, once again, proving that he's...
pickles on the sandwich?
I presume there's other stuff. I don't know. I feel like this is a thing that happens a lot in TV shows. People are like, oh, I've got a pickle sandwich and stuff like that. I'm like, as someone who doesn't eat pickle sandwiches, I don't really pay attention. All I hear is pickle and sandwich. I'm like, anything, like, I'm out already. I don't need to pay attention to anything else that's going on here. So yeah, pickle sandwich. And they find out that the girl's name is Hanne. And she explains that something has been attacking the house, and her dad was apparently protecting the house, but he disappeared 4 days ago, and now she has been left there alone, and she asks the doctor for help in finding her dad. So this is one of the things I really like about this episode. It does so many twists and turns before it even gets into full-blown crazy weird sci-fi, because at first it's just weird abandoned house in woods. Next it's, oh, there's someone attacking the house. Like at this point it could be a horror movie, you know.
It could be.
It goes so many directions. It's quite cool, because even when they get in the halfway point, that stuff's kind of like a horror movie. It could be a horror movie also. Looked like something it could be a Clive Barker novel, fucking flesh eating bugs and shit. So outside they begin looking over things, exploring, talking over what's going to be happening. We find out that Hannah's mum died a while back, and her dad just hasn't really been the same since. And then her watch goes off, buzzes, makes a sound, I can't really remember, one of the above. And she explains that it's because the monster attacks at the same time every day or something along those lines. So she says everyone needs to get inside ASAP because the monster's going to be coming. And of course, this is the part where Brian makes his silly comment of just saying that her dad's just abandoned her, left her there. And the doctor gives her a stern, oh, yeah, fucking... So that was
what a dick thing to say. Let's be honest. Anybody...
Yeah, it's like, hey, girl, your dad's missing.
Hello, child. Your dad doesn't love you.
Probably just abandoned you. Yeah.
You know,
Probably just. Seems weird for him to say.
to be fair. Well, you never know. We don't know the story of his dad.
That's true.
So,
yeah.
Maybe he's like projecting.
He could be. That's a good point. Could be projecting. Don't know. But overall, none of them really believe that there's a monster, of course, at this point. The doctor's still yet to be proven that there is actually a monster. So the doctor and the doctor and Graham head aside with Hanne while Yaz and Ryan go exploring a little bit, and they find this garage where there's a bunch of hunting, trapping weapons, bear traps and all sorts of things. And they think it's too much, It's like too much to have there for a normal supply. So maybe there is a monster. Maybe there is weird things going on. Don't know. But then all of a sudden they hear a huge roar, which sounds like it's coming from the forest. But this is the other thing when I look back on the episode, I'm like, it's one fucking speaker. Like if you think about it really, surely if there was one speaker, I don't care how loud you turn it up, you're not going to think, and because it's like parked in the middle outside the house, outside that window or whatever, it's not going to sound like it's coming from the forest, is it really?
I don't know. I'm not an audio technician.
Well, fuck Ash, get your shit together. Jesus.
Yeah.
So they head inside and they begin locking up the house because they've now heard the monster and they actually think it's a thing that could possibly be happening. Yeah. And Graham's upstairs at this point. He's looking out the window, looking for the monsters, trying to find out what's going on. And then he hears a weird sort of simple sound, gets a little bit of a feeling, what's going on, turns around, sees a mirror. Bit weird. Mirror doesn't have my reflection in it. Maybe I'm a vampire. Who knows what's going on? So, of course, as you would, walks up to it.
Could have just been a painting of the...
That would be a big ass troll for someone to have in their house. Like a painting that looks so much realistically. But then it's like, but then you can't change anything behind it, to commit.
Yeah, you have to commit. Yeah.
You have to commit to the joke at that point. Yeah, it's very good.
Maybe put it in the bathroom.
Yeah, just do you want to update this thing over here?
No, we can't move stuff.
We can't. Did you want to get a new towel? No, not really. Why is that? Believe me, the towel is not worth the amount of money it would cost to replace. To hire that painter to come back in and refix this fucking trolley ass mirror painting. So yeah, he begins looking over the mirror and no reflection. He touches it and it wobbles weirdly. Sounds, I don't know, something like the usual type of thing you can picture of when you picture a portal type sci-fi thing happening. The doctor, of course, then runs up at this point, pulls him away, says, "Get out of the way. What are you doing? Don't touch that. Don't go near it." But of course, then the doctor, after being also protective, then proceeds to sonic it and push ahead for it to see what's happening, as you do.
Like you do.
Yeah, like you do, of course. So push for it. Sees she says that there's another world dimension, something or other. Doesn't really know. But when she put her head for it the first time, because it always sees red and stuff, I'm like, holy shit, it's a portal to hell. It's a fucking portal to hell. Where are we going? I don't really know. Can't look like it. So then they talk about, well, of course, the doctor's like, well, got to go through there. Got to explore. Got to find out what's going on. What this portal's all about. So says, Yaz, Graham, come with me. We'll go through the portal. Ryan, you're the one who had a bad you had a bad interaction with this kid. You stay and look after the kid.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense.
Yeah, you two get along. Let's keep you together.
Yeah.
Potentially for several hours while we explore.
Yeah. Not Yaz, who, while I was in the garage, was talking about how she has police training on how to deal with kids. Wouldn't leave her with the distressed child person who is upset about the loss of the potential loss of her father and missing father. No, let's leave Ryan, who was like, your dad's abandoned you, mate. Get over it. Smart choice.
Yeah.
All makes sense.
To be fair, it's plot reasons. So.
I mean, it is, but it's still just like, why, Doctor? That was a silly. It's really
interesting choice.
Interesting choice, if anything. But the Doctor then writes notes, several dot points up on the wall quickly with her magic marker that I presume is the same one from the Rosa episode, and writes, I can't remember what the other ones were, but I mean, it basically just says, presume her dad's dead and watch the doors, something. And then off they go. They head off into the mirror world portal. See what's happening. Inside, they come across an alien who I did find the name later, but then I forgot to fucking write it down. But I think it's like fjord.
Ribbons.
Ribbons. That's it. That's fucking sounds more like. Is it ribbons or ribbons?
Ribbons. Bees.
As in, like a ribbon bow.
You wrap a present with a ribbon.
Yeah, there you go. Would you use it in a sentence for me?
Yeah.
So they come across this alien, Ribbons, who kind of looks like a Cree or a scroll or something. I don't know.
I don't know. He didn't look very good, to be honest.
He didn't look very good, to be honest. That's maybe just how they look, Ash. That's very, maybe that's probably just how his species looks. You don't know. Just presuming.
Tough luck.
Tough luck. So they, of course, the doctor, of course, and when they come across him, he's like scavenging on the ground or something like. I think he's like pulling feathers off a bird or like one of his dead animals he throws around or something like that. I don't really know. But of course, they ask if he's seen a human male, Eric, Hanne's father, so high, beard potentially, walking around. He says, no, haven't seen anyone really at this point. But then quickly does eventually come around after the doctor pulls out a sonic and say that he had in fact seen Eric walking through here, and he'll take them to him as long as he gets the sonic, which the doctor says that she will deliver to him once he takes them to see him. They're going to do a trade-off, which of course Graham is like, you can't do that, you can't fucking do it. And she's like, there's 3 of us, 1 of him. No. So doctor's just agreeing to collusion, lying. What's going on here? Outrageous. Didn't know the doctor could lie in the face of evil so much.
Shocking.
It's horrible. Inside the house, back at the house, Ryan is struggling with Hanne, and then they're arguing about still going after the doctor. She wants to go after him, go through the portal, see what's going on. So Ryan pulls her out of that room, locks it behind her, puts the key in his pocket. Don't know how he happened to have the key for that particular door, and it was just sitting close by or something like that, but worked out quite well for him either way. And then he goes, they're looking around the house or whatever. He says, let's go board it up, make sure it's safe from the monster, these sorts of things. And there's another point. At this point in the episode, I like all the different elements that are going. At this point in the episode, because we still don't know that we're only about to discover that there's actually no monster, I was presuming that there was a monster and it had escaped from the portal or something like that, Like this is where my head's going. Portal, monster, big monsters escape from portal, something like that. That's why I like this episode, how it plays with you constantly, like what you expect to happen, I guess. It plays with your expectations. Yeah. But while he's looking around the house to find the things that are to board up better, he finds a cord leading outside a window, and he follows the cord along and finds this speaker, which is where the big growling sounds are coming from. And props to Eric. Pretty good trick he set up. Pretty good special effects sound. I don't know where he pulled it from, but sounds pretty good. Realistic for a monster.
What a dick, though.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking terrible. Still, I'm like, even by the end of the episode, I'm like, no. Child services.
No. Purposely traumatizing your child.
Yeah. So keeping her safe. No. You're traumatizing her. She's sitting under fucking tables and stuff because she thinks she's getting attacked by a monster daily. And you're potentially kidnapped. It takes you away, she says. She thinks you've been taken away, Eric, you fucking dickhead. So then Ryan comes back inside and he's trying to tell Hanne that the monster is a bunch of fake. He goes to walk through a door, but then of course she's like, fuck you, I want to go walk through the mirror world, see what's going on. So she slams the door in his face, which would hurt, I imagine, and knocks him the fuck out. Finds the key and then heads back off to the room to go inside the mirror. Back inside the mirror, the doctor is following along the alien, and they basically get played by him because they had been using the old trick of breadcrumb trail, whatever, using string to be able to find their way back to the their side of the mirror, wherever it is.
Yeah.
But this is one of my little nitpicks about the episode. If it was that much of a maze, they would have died at the end of the episode. Really.
Getting back.
Yeah. It's not really that much of a maze. They pretty much run in a straight line and find it. It's is what it appears. It appears like the string really wasn't necessary, but anyway, he had cut the string.
Well, they didn't know, to be fair.
Yeah, that's true, I suppose. They don't know. But he had cut the string at one point when they stopped, and he explained that this moth that lands on the balloon is actually flesh-eating moth things that exist in the place they're in, which is a hell between realities or place between realities or something like that, explains it as. And he's throwing around these dead things which he throws out to be able to distract them and they can get along. And while I was going through all this, at one point he does cut the string. So up the path a bit further, he's like, got yous. Give me the Sonic. I'll take yous back to the entrance, show you what's what, or fuck yous. But then moths follow them along. They're like, oh shit, moths follow them. Doesn't say these moth things kind of scary. Could be scary. If this show is rated MA, could have some gory sequences. Bit scares here.
Yeah.
Something going on. Bit more intense. Did remind me of something. Like in the colours and everything, because it's like the red smoke and the rocks and everything. I'm like, could be a Clive Barker novel, potentially. Something like that. But he attempts to take off with the Sonic and run and get away because he thinks these moths are all coming now, or they're going to bring more attention. But Graham, being a bus driver, tackles him to the ground because
I'm sure he's had to do that a couple of times.
Yeah, all these kids.
Someone trying to skip their fare.
Yeah, anyone trying to skip their fare for Graham, he fucks them up. Tackle. Doesn't let that happen. Chases them up the aisle. Tackles him. No, there's no escaping Graham. Full stop. Can't get away from him. But then the doctor's like, Graham, stay the fuck still because there's a whole bunch of these mops around here. And at this point, the Sonic has got knocked. It's on the ground amongst them all. Who's going to go for it first? What's going to go on? Turns out that Ribbons over here is a bit of a impatient motherfucker and dumb, even though he was the one who told them about the problem. And surely he would know what would happen when he did this, but he still did it because apparently he's just really attracted to shiny things that can't help himself. He, of course, goes for the Sonic, and at which point all the killer moths die. No, they're flying. Can you die when you're flying? I don't know. They fly at him in high speed, attach himself, and begin being flesh-eating moths and eating him. So that's nice. Bye, Ribbons.
Good times. Bye.
It was nice having you on the show for the time you were part.
It really wasn't, but
yeah, no, he was a bit creepy. I didn't particularly like him. So rest in peace, Ribbons. We'll put you in the end of year montage video. No, we won't. It's not happening. Sorry. Yeah. Maybe it will. That's a cool idea. I'm not going to do that. Someone do that. It's a cool idea though. So as this all getting distracted, Ribbons. The doctor grabs the Sonic, which is on the ground. I'll begin running off. Cool, this way. Let's get away from flesh-eating mops. They see a mirror. They presume it's their mirror, I suppose. Look, we found a way back. Whatever. Dive through the mirror. Next thing's next. Figure out where we're going. But they dive through, and they soon realize that it looks like the same room, but it's not the same room. Because, dun, 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 mirror world.
It's not the same.
Everything's backwards. So one little nice tidbit I did have is... skip ahead a little bit, is when Eric comes back through to the other side, the text on his shirt is switched, like, mirrored.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they do slight little details there to be like, yeah, mirrored world, text, shirt, switch, stuff like that. So there you go. But they, and they begin exploring, head downstairs. And downstairs, there's a man cutting up breakfast, lunch, something. I don't really know what they're eating. They're eating something.
Yeah.
Turns out, hey, Eric. Hey, Hannah's father. What are you doing here? What's going on? What are you...
I know, he got mixed up.
What?
He didn't realize he was in the wrong house the whole time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't know. How did I get here? Oh, that's crazy. What am I doing? Oh, I'm dreaming. Who are you? What am I? What's my name? What's going on? Don't even know. He tries explaining though that he's been trying to keep Hanne safe, inside and safe from world, I think is the explanation. Just world.
Yeah.
World will get you, I guess. But they never explained how her mum died, so I'm like, maybe car accident. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was something simple, and he's like, that's why in his brain he's like, keep her inside, she's safe. That's nasty. That's some fucked up shit. I would want to stay inside if that was the thing too. Maybe it was a bear. That's why he has all the bear traps. In which case, holy shit, I've seen The Revenant. Fuck that shit. That's some messy, that's some messy shit. Then Hannah's mum appears and
what?
Yeah, it's like, whoa, what's going on here? At this
Wasn't
point,
she dead?
Yeah, at this point, I knew where they were going. That's the like as soon as
came to heaven.
Yeah, no, but
they're in the afterlife, right?
No, I didn't think it was that, but I just knew as soon as she came in, I'm like, yeah, Grace is gonna somehow be here in a second because you just know, you just know that's where it's going. It's presumably going to go, and it does, of course.
They have to do it.
They have to do it. But she starts explaining that she's not like a version that doesn't know about her own history. She knows that she died. She doesn't know how she got here, but she's here. You know, it's like very weird. It's like, yeah, I know I'm dead, but I'm here somehow. I don't really know, but I remember all the things, blah, 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 blah. It's a whole really odd thing. And Eric's, of course, like, yeah, she's my wife. It's cool. Let me put my arm around her. We're together. It's a thing, if you didn't know. And then the wife explains that, hey, there's someone else out here. Do you want to go see her? And they're like, who? Who else is here? Oh, no, she appeared right as you entered. And if you didn't know where that was going at this point, surely when they say she appeared right as you entered, you did know at this point, surely. Heading outside, standing behind a bunch of washing on the line, like that one scene in Superman where it's flashing backwards and forwards, is
Clara.
Who? Clara?
Clara. That's who.
Oswald?
Clara. Yeah.
Imagine.
Amy. Rory.
Amy Pond? Rory.
Every other companion that's died under the Doctor's watch. We'll come back to this.
Imagine. That would have... All of a sudden, it's a 10 out of 10. Everyone loves that episode. But no, it's Grace. Because, of course, it is. Got to go for the feels. It's Grace standing there. And Graham, of course, walks up. Bit of shock. As you would have, I suppose, in this of course, in this situation. Graham tries to test her, like, to see if she's real by asking a question about the frog necklace that he has on, and she tells this funny little story about how Graham got a frog necklace, Ryan got a frog necklace the same year. They both got a frog necklaces because they didn't talk to each other and figure out what they were going to be doing. It was a whole thing and then she says, I like frogs, which I was like, holy fuck. Who likes frogs? You know? Nobody likes
Weird
frogs. People.
Yeah. They're creepy.
They are creepy. No one likes frogs.
You can't tell what they're feeling because they show no emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why they're bad guys in Hellboy.
There you go. But it's like frogs.
Yeah.
Not even cane toads, which have had books written about them.
Yeah.
I'll take them, but frogs, no. But she gets it all correctly is the main point. And then, so, of course, Graham starts believing that it is somehow his Grace here, alive, somehow. Doesn't really know how, but got to work it all out. At this point, the Doctor and Yaz head back into the room where the mirror was. And the Doctor starts trying to work out what exactly is going on. And this is where the 5 minutes of the episode is a bit like, here's a bunch of information coming at you very fast, and you as the audience member are going to try and take it in, but because it's happening so fast, you're not going to be able to dig in and look for any sort of thing that makes sense or anything. It's just like, hey, here's a bunch of stuff, enough stuff to help you kind of get a little bit of information, enough to get you along, dig you along with the episode, see what's happening. But it's a lot. I was like, this is quite intense. So what it boils down to is the doctor basically says that when she was a kid, her gran, which she says she has like 9 grands or something like that.
6 or something.
6 grands, and the 5th was
a
her
very
favorite.
high unnecessary number, which doesn't make
yes.
sense.
Well, they have 2 hearts.
And it just raises a lot of questions.
Very big families, the Time Lords, apparently. Huge families.
But does it mean multiple people are needed to conceive children? Or
well, I presume it's because he can live for so long, so like anyone that precedes her mum would be her gran.
Is it her nan's like 6?
Yeah, so it'd be her nan's, mum's, mum. Like each one's mum would be a gran, right? Like technically it would be her grandma, her great-grandma, her great-great-grandma, her great-great-great-grandma. You know what I mean? But
not really.
So she has a... Look, we're going to get this right first. She has a mum, presumably.
Yes.
We're presuming in this case, mum, dad. We're presuming default family scenario for this.
Yeah.
Okay. Even though I presume if they ever did Doctor Who family, it would not be default family scenario at all. But let's just, for the sake of it, presume...
Not at this point.
No. Let's presume she's got a mum. And her mum's mum is her gran.
Yeah.
Her gran's mum is her gran. Her gran's mum is her gran.
Oh, because they live for so long. Mm-hmm.
But because they never die, because they live for so long, so as the family continues, she's got so many grands. Do you get what I'm saying?
That doesn't specify. They need to be more specific. But
that's what I'm going with. That's just how I...
Sure.
That's how I took it in this.
It's better than the other option.
What's the option?
We need 6 people to conceive 1 child.
I like how your mind went to that, and my mind was just straight away like, she has a lot of grandmas because Time Lords live. Time Lords live for so long. You're like, no, 6 people fucked 1. Obviously, where else would I take this? Why else would I think about it? It's obviously what's happened. But no. So Doctor explains that she got told this rumor or a fairy tale or something like this before bed about the... What the fuck? Solitract, yes. Solitract, which is basically something like the Big Bang, is what I took it.
Effectively, it's like a sentient parallel universe.
That wants to be a real universe.
Yeah.
It's the Pinocchio of universes.
Yeah.
It wants to be a real universe.
Except, spoilers for Pinocchio, it doesn't become a real boy like
no,
Pinocchio
and
does.
This universe doesn't become a real universe either. Spoilers for that. So yeah, they apparently want to... and then... So they're on this universe. They're in this universe. Everything around them universe. The people, the universe, obviously. Everything is part of that universe. And it has hooked on to the Doctor's universe, because we're presuming in Doctor Who, it's, kind of like DC Comics or something, multiple, parallel universes. So
we know there are multiple universes.
Well, of course, there's Rose and
the
stuff. I suppose.
Yeah, Rose is in another universe. Yeah.
Yeah. So they've hooked onto the Doctor's universe, and for whatever reason, and this is why it's set up this parallel mirror gateways, and it's copied over data, and it's trying to lead people in there and make them happy and make them want to stay there because it wants to be a real universe, is what it boils down to.
It just wants people.
It wants friends. It wants life.
Lonely.
I guess. Yeah, it's lonely. And that's that. So with all that in mind, and the Doctor going, this random thing that my 5th gran or whatever it was told me when I was a young boy or girl, that's now exactly what we're dealing with here. So the Doctor heads back down to Graham and he's trying to explain that Grace is not actually Grace. It's a sentient kind of universe, conscious universe, and everything around is conscious universe, and it's all trying to trick us to be in here, and we all need to get the fuck out of here before it starts exploding or imploding, and what we're going to try to do. So They all head up to the mirror room, and then we get this this scene of the eventual build up of everyone slowly getting shot through the fucking mirror slowly. So back in the halfway world, or whatever you want to call it, Ryan and Hanne have met up. Ryan followed Hanne, and then they begin walking, trying to find their way out, doing what they need to do. They find a balloon, they're using it. Of course, the moths start following them, start running away, and at one point, Hanne makes a run for it, dives through the mirror. So now she's in the room. Oh, look, Hanne's here. Hanne's mum tries to talk to her. Give her her dad's like, "Hey, good to see you. How'd you enjoy my how's the monster going over on your side of the world? Is that okay? Is that broke in yet? Is that okay? Is everything all right there? Oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, if that's not enough torture for you, here's your dead mum. Say hi. Say hi.
What you do straight away.
Yeah, but Hannah's no fool. So as soon as the conscious universe fake mum tries
she
to give her
looked like her, but all those other senses, they just didn't.
She's not buying it. Not it's the visual aspect may work, but everything else was no go. Red sirens. So she tells her back off. You know, you're not my mum. You're not the one. And then Yaz begins pissing off the consciousness a bit more, also by saying that that Grace is definitely not Grace because she was a warm, kind-hearted woman and blah, 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 all these sorts of things. So at this stage, we're just kind of pissing off the consciousness a lot more. And then Hanne, once again, says that her mum's fake and to piss off, basically, and all sorts of things. So then her fake mum force pushes her, I guess, blasts her back through the portal. So she was in there for a hot 2 seconds before she's blasted back through. And then Yaz is proceeded to get blasted through the portal as well. And at this point, I don't know why at this point anyone needs to be told, hey, they're not really a people, because can you not see them fucking using force blast pushes to shoot through portals here at this point?
I mean, when you die, I guess you get superpowers.
Wouldn't that be a thing?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a thing? So the doctor tries to talk to Graham at this point. You know, look, can't you see what's happening? Obviously not the people you know. Obviously this isn't Grace. But Grace is like, I'm real, you know, stay with me, blah, blah, blah. But the test she fails is where Graham says, Brian's in there. Brian's probably in trouble. Got to go help him. And she says, no, he'll be fine, you know. He's a big boy. We'll sort it out. So, but that's when Graham says that, you know, the real Grace wouldn't have ever let Ryan, wouldn't have ever said that if Ryan was in trouble at all. Ryan could have scraped his kneecap and she would have been like, we got to go. Got to get to work. Got to do what we need to do. So at this point, Graham's shot through Graham shoots through the portal, and then the only people we have left at this stage is Grace disappears because she's no longer needed because the person she was intimidating for is not part of the universe anymore. And now we only have the doctor, Eric, and Eric's fake wife. And
fake wife.
Yeah. The doctor then proceeds to talk to the fake wife, or the consciousness at this point, I guess. Consciousness explained that they don't want Eric. The doctor's seen way more. They want someone interesting to talk to. That's what the whole point is, isn't it? So why do you want him? He's just a deadbeat dad.
Who torments his child.
Yeah. I mean, she basically says that to a degree. And yeah, what do you want him for? Look at me. Just look into me.
Very convincing.
I'm way more interesting. Keep me around. And the consciousness is like, yeah. The universe says yes. And kind of shoots Eric off, and then everything goes white. Like
Eric accepts that she's fake first. Which is,
oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. He's like, you're fake. Finally.
You're
After everything, he's like, I think you're not real.
My wife would never choose a woman over me.
My wife... It wasn't the force pushing people with hands. It was the
no.
was choosing the woman. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So then he goes through. Everything goes white. It's like that scene in Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows where Dumbledore's dead. Spoilers. And then
no, it's where the part where Harry dies. Spoilers.
Oh yeah, where Harry dies. Spoilers. That's Australia. And yeah, this is where it gets kind of weird. I mean, it wasn't
A little, yeah.
it wasn't weird before this point. This is where it's like, okay, this is a bit weird, but this is where we are. The doctor's there. She kind of walks up, and ahead of her is a frog sitting on a seat, and it's still got Grace's voice. The doctor asks for an explanation of why it's using Grace's voice. The universe basically says, I like the voice. Why am I a frog? Don't know. It was the last person I took form of. Favorite thing, but it wasn't. The last person he took form as was Eric's wife, but, whatever.
Well, no. He turned into Grace, so that was the last thing he got created into, I guess.
I guess we can apply it. But, yeah, for the meeting...
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's a freaking frog in a chair in a bloody room with white lights. Freaking weird.
When you're like, hey, new house guests, potentially living together... Well, I mean, we're supposed to be living together for the rest of eternity together. I really want us to get along. Really want this doctor person to like me so we can chit-chat. Really want to learn more about them. I will take the form of a frog. That will make sure that they do indeed like me. No doubt. It's impossible. Of course they'll like me. What am I saying? But luckily this scene doesn't go too long. It is pretty much... The doctor's like, I guess I'm going to be here for a while. What do you want to know about my universe? Because the frog's like, hey, tell me about universe. Like, that's the thing you can just explain in a hot sentence or two. And the doctor, says, the people are great, blah, 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 usual kind of spiel. But then her hands begin shaking or vibrating or, something along those lines. And she points out that after all the efforts of the universe, it's not meant to have anyone from another universe inside it because it's going to cause itself to break. So the doctor says, going to have to let me go as well, or else you're going to come down. Like having me here is going to bring you apart. It's you can't say bring your universe apart because it is the fucking universe. So it's like if you keep me here, you're going to kill yourself. Basically, is what it is.
Yep.
Frog. Are you listening to me, frog? You paying attention?
It's a weird looking frog too. It looks like a puppet frog. Like creepy.
Yep. But it does agree. Says, nice to meet you. Hope you enjoyed chatting to a frog. That's fine. That's cool. Had a great time. It was great 2 minutes in this living review, I guess. And then it sends Doctor back to the universe between both, the whole way between both universes, I guess, which is of course collapsing because now the universes have been disconnected. So this whole way is between nothing. It's just clinging to the other side. So it's kind of beginning collapsing, and then everyone has to run through it. They all make it out, of course. And then back in the real world, the other place was real too, I suppose. Back in their universe, Hanne and Eric explain that they're going to move finally, hopefully to a city where there's no way Eric and monsters can set up fake monsters and all sorts of things. And then we get
lock the child into it in their room like a real father.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Then we get. Yeah, you got one more fatherly touch?
Much less traumatizing than...
Is it?
I think so.
I feel like we can agree probably to say don't do either, maybe.
No, probably not. But
if you're going to do one, lock them up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, of course, Doctor and crew all head off towards the TARDIS. Standing outside, we get the touching moment where Ryan talking to Graham about Grace and that sort of stuff, how's it going, blah, 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 blah. Finally calls him, what's he say? I think he just says, come on, Granddad, or
yeah,
let's go, Granddad. It was just nonchalant, just chuck it out there. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna, I mean, he doesn't actually cry.
Got something in my eye. Yeah.
He's like, I got something in my eye, but And then they all pile back into TARDIS and off we go. That's the end of that one. So this week's villain, Ash. Grace.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you like to rate Grace as a villain out of 10?
Yeah. I don't know.
All right, I'll give you an alternative. What would you like to rate Frogs as a villain out of 10?
An 8. Evil Parallel Universes gets an 8.
Evil Parallel. Yeah. Evil Parallel. That's the thing. I don't think it was evil. Is the thing with.
Okay. Sentient parallel universes.
I'll give it.
Needy.
Yeah,
Lonely.
needy. They're so needy, these universes.
Yeah.
I'll give it a. I'll give it an 8 too, like you. Sure. I'll give Frogs a 10.
Yeah.
For being freaky.
Just normal frogs.
Just frogs in general as villains?
Yeah.
10.
10, sure.
Next season of Doctor Who? You know that spider episode we had this season? Make it frogs.
Yeah.
Well, fuck us all
Much
up.
worse.
Much worse.
Scary. I mean, I would argue Eric's probably a villain as well. I mean,
yeah, that's a good
Ribbons
point.
is a villain.
Yeah, but
Killer Eater Moths were villains. A lot of villains in this episode.
Yeah. Many evil bad people.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your final wrap up thoughts on this week's episode?
Yeah,
or
it was
last week's
good.
episode?
Emotional, very emotional. Just seeing Grace again, and props to Doctor Who for like casting a real blind girl.
Oh, was she really?
Like, yeah, she was really a blind, not acting. Yeah, I don't know if she was a Norwegian or not. I think that might be the next sense. So
fucking fake Norwegians, Jesus.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's pretty cool. That's good. Didn't know that. Yeah, I think this was one of the strongest of the season, especially, and it's really good that I can say this. Like, this is one of my favorites, and I'm gonna have that up there when we do a list or whatever. But I'm gonna have this up there probably, and then Rosa's going to be up there, of course. But Rosa and this are very different. I like that. That there's this sort of variety. Rosa is a historical, very dramatic episode based in real life. Mm-hmm. This episode is a very crazy, weird, fucking frog sci-fi odd episode, and I really did enjoy all the twists and the plays, you know, because if it had have turned out to be, hey, there's a monster that escaped, that is a very typical Doctor Who storyline. That's probably why it was in my head, you know. That's why my mind was expecting it, because that's just play by the books, kind of what you would expect. I like how it constantly was like, it's not that, it's not that, it's not that, it's a fucking frog, is what it is. Did you expect that? No, you didn't.
No, nobody expected that.
Nobody expected the frog. And that's where we're at now. Yeah. So that's it for this week's episode. Fish, fingers, and custard. So next episode, season finale, of course.
Yep.
And then after the season finale, we will be doing a wrap up of all the episodes, ranking them in our order, where we think they go.
Yeah. And
going over them all, say how we feel about the season as a whole, and then we'll be back once more time for the New Year's Day special. Yep. And that's that. That'll be that, of course. So thank you for joining us this episode of Fish, Fingers and Custard. You can join us recording the show live when we record it live. This one wasn't recorded live because it was late in the thing. But 10 out of 11 episodes will be live. Twitch.tv/Explosion Network.
That's why there was no one in the Twitch chat.
You're like, damn, I had it open. That was silly. Why? Join us twitch.tv/Explosion Network when we record, so you can chat about Doctor Who there, or just watch the show being recorded live. Or else you can find the show, of course, on youtube.com/Explosion Network for the video version, or Apple Podcasts and all other great podcasting services, including Spotify. And of course, you can also find the show explosionnetwork.com, along with all our other great content. Follow Explosion Network on Twitter at ExplosionPod. Follow me on Twitter at Vivaladil, VIVALADIL. Follow Ash on Twitter at AshleyHobby, ASHLEYHOBLEY. What are you going to sign us off with this week, Ash?
I mean, frogs, man.
Frogs, man?
Fucking frogs.
Just fucking frogs. All right, boy.
I mean, if you could be anything, why would you be a freaking frog?